All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search if it is they got BSS, yes or no for either or both of them. All right, so we're back here in the GBC universe where we take declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. The our North Star here is, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture, and more about that, pinned video, pinned post somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Got way on the left, we got the highest intent peeps. These are like, social searchers, Google searchers are searching for boudoir photo shoot in my city, like today. Focus on those peeps here in our videos talking about BSS. And way over on the right, we got the lowest intent people that ain't searching for boudoir right now. And most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. So we reach them through interruption ads through Facebook and Instagram. And we talk about that on our sister brand channel over there, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So, BSS boudoir search sameness, that is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots, terrible. That means we're dying a fast death because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. Page 1 is it's where approximately 80% of Google searches stop. So they're page one only searches. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that still ain't good because we're looking the same as everyone else. There's 10 organic slots, page 1 on Google. So, there can be 9 other boudoir photographers. And if everyone's got 1 slot, then guess what a buyer's doing? They're saying, oh, everyone looks the same here. No one stands out. And they're getting, hitting everyone's contact form, getting price quotes from everyone, and price shopping, comparing, driving margins down, negotiating. And, this is a business killer as well. And 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google search is actually not normal. It's a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Yeah, to have that few number of slots, not normal. It's 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, most people know what that is. Over time, people get new iPhones, get new cameras, kind of like upgrade their gear naturally. And as they continue, they eventually, throw up their Google Maps profile saying they now offer boudoir photo shoots. They also throw up their website saying they offer boudoir photography, and they actually start posting in mom Facebook groups that they do boudoir photo shoots now. Basically, more sellers for the same number of buyers makes it harder for all boudoir photographers at the same time. Now, the second one, the false belief of page 1 equality. This one, boudoir photographers believe that every boudoir photographer basically kind of gets 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and either they have it or they don't. Either Google gives it to them or they don't. So maybe they're in page 1 slot 8, and some market saturation happens. They go to page 2, slot 3, and they're like, well, that's how it is. And they're like, I hope those people above me delete their website so Google can rank me on page 1. But this is the 100% wrong thought process to have, because we now know for a fact that Google actually give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 of Google search in only 10 days with this new methodology we developed, which you'll be seeing in a little bit. Now, a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer DBP. That's because, if you 0 1 slots page 1, both situations, We're practically invisible. And so this kind of the warning light, the first, you know, the canary in the coal mine for a disappearing boudoir photographer that's telling us we are on the path to our boudoir photography business itself disappearing. But thankfully now we have a solution because through our testing we've discovered BSS is actually treated with social search saturation, aka S-Cube's methodology. And the way it works, I mean, it's exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords so we show up there as many times as possible, right at the top. And it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America, on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the eastern side. And basically, when the snow down there melts, it forms into small streams, small rivers. Eventually, all that water collects to the Amazon River. Page 1 of Google is that Amazon River. Page 1 Google search. So we got to get the snow up top the mountains first for the water to then flow into the Amazon River. And the best way to get the snow up top, saturating social search. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually gives them a chance to actually still grow their business in the face of massive and increasing market saturation in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen that also gives the benefit is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. AI's here taking peep jobs. We ain't got time to build one of those. But kind of an extra benefit of S-Cube methodology is my estimate is it will actually build a brand about 8x faster in traditional ways because we're on so many different surfaces with such a high frequency than everyone else. Kind of just naturally leads to a large, well-known brand being built. So example of boudoir photography business still growing even in the face of more and more market saturation. Let's say we are in Bangor, Maine. There's a million boudoir photographers there, and we're one of them. Everyone's got their boudoir photography website, trying to rank page 1 on Google. And what's actually happening is, we're like, dude, we don't have a brand. How the heck are we going to compete? We actually, well, the only solution is S-Cube methodology. So we crank it up to, max level. I'd say we rank the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And as we get those slots, let's say we get those to flow down onto Google page 1. Well, we actually get the first 300 slots on Google, so it's 10 slots per page. We're taking the first 30 pages. People basically got to go to page 31 to find any of our competitors. So if we got the first 300 slots where anyone looks, no matter how far they scroll, any social search or any on Google, whose boudoir photography business is still growing? Obviously ours, because our buyers can basically not even find our competitors. So our 999,999 other boudoir competitors are basically dying / vanishing, and we're basically the only ones still growing. So that's the most extreme example of S-Cubed methodology. Now, once treated with S-Cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility. So initial benefit, we get more slots on page 1, cool. Secondary benefit, every new slot we get on page 1, we actually kick, or second initial benefit, we actually kick competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Dude, so we can do this to people right in our city. We can kick as many people off page 1 in our city as possible, because now we know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And a lot of boudoir photographers feel that this is actually their most favorite initial benefit. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is when the GVC universe recommends we hit a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 of Google search, because basically everyone else will have 1 slot, every other boudoir photographer, so we got 3, we're dominating them just off of sheer appearance. And if in the super rare situation that one person has 2 slots, well, we got 3 and we dominate them as well. And finally, a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our full micro universe here, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We got our solution now. S cubed methodology gives us page one visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, my results utilizing S cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I want to dominate page one for this. Sorry, I had 0 out of 10 slots, page one, Google search. So let's see my results using S-cube methodology. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So we got 9 out of 10 slots. I went from 0 out of 10 slots Google page one search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page one search in only 10 days, exclusively utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, now to our main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business, see if it has BSS, see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search for local Washington, D.C. Well, technically that's city, and then region. All right, so the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. All right, so region should actually be way more competitive than what we've normally seen. All right, let's go to DC. All right. So let's see what we got. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for city search. Let's go to DMV area. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for both. So we got BSS for both the city search and the regional search, and we got we're not hitting the recommended GBC yet. GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for either of these searches as well. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, so you've done the BSS search for local and for city for yourself, and you are you're saying you either got BSS or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google, and you've seen S-cube methodology, like, wow, that's exactly what I need. That's what I want. That's what I've been waiting for. Kind of solve this, kind of dominate page one, which honestly is kind of a secondary benefit. Kicking our competitors off page one is probably the most important thing. Getting them to page two, where they're invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. And you're saying, okay, S-cube methodology, you decide, okay, that can get you there. And the you understand the page, the false belief of page one quality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're like, okay, now we can break through kind of the mental barrier and see what are the solutions after take as many page one slots on Google, as I want to put in the effort to acquire. And you understand market saturation, basically new gear, new people coming into Boudoir, new websites, new people competing on page one, yeah. But you're also looking ahead, seeing AI is going to take more and more people's jobs. And since everyone's got a smartphone with an awesome camera, it's actually going to force more and more boudoir photographers into the market than potentially ever, just because AI is going to be so widespread. So you're thinking ahead. You like the initial benefits of boudoir, where basically, or at least you like the initial benefits of getting more slots page one on Google, kicking out more boudoir photographers off page one on Google. And you also like that S-cube methodology can actually fortify your position in the new boudoir peeps coming into the marketplace. And so you're seeing, okay, S-cube methodology can help fortify that position as well, kind of like building up the levees for New Orleans, Louisiana, to keep the ocean out, because New Orleans is below sea level. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need those things in order to become #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also thinking ahead to the extended future benefits, which is kind of the more that we execute S cubed correctly every single day, we're building up these kind of invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, attached to our business, attached to our kind of like invisible mindshare for AI mindshare. And that actually increases the probability that we are brought up in this AI overview premium placement. This probability increases every day we run S cubed methodology correctly. And this is a premium placement. And also to increase the probability that AI search recommends this, ChatGPT search and Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini. Because I remember the last time I looked for a boudoir photographer in a city, they only recommended me 3. And I went on Google to look at that city. Like actually how many options exist? There's about 60. So I was like, dude, we gotta figure out a way to get on here. So you're also seeing S-cubed methodology is the best way to get that done. And you're also seeing, since we be on all these social platforms, dominating the social search, we can create a brand much faster, which is really just kind of like momentum mindshare. And you're also seeing that you decide to be a first mover advantage and be the first one in your city to utilize SQ methodology, because my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer for your city. So that enables you to kind of box out all your competitors from using this. So you're saying you can get super ahead with all these slots page one on Google, all this momentum of basically all this momentum of kind of this invisible thematic keyword column mindshare, and really put a large amount of distance between yourself and all your competitors. And conversely, if one of your competitors works with me instead, you understand you'd have to go and rederive or derive for the first time SQ methodology. And then you'd have to then go execute it at the same rate as me and your competitor each day. And you probably wouldn't feel comfortable putting that much time in, because you'd never be 100% confident that you've even derived it or rederived it correctly in the first place. And then at that point, even if you equal our effort, our output, you would simply be maintaining the gap we've already built between you. You have to actually double or triple our output to kind of close that gap and gain on us, and kind of pull back this thematic keyword, invisible thematic keyword columns from kind of AI mindshare we're acquiring. You'd have to pull that momentum away from us. And like, dude, who's got 80 hours a day to do all this? Who's got 80 hours a day? Nobody. So you've decided, screw that. You've already decided you're gonna be the first one to actually, the first one in your city to utilize this, so you can get all these initial benefits and future benefits. So that's you. Shoot me a DM. The hospital is currently closed, but if you actually, when I do open DMs for new patient intake, shoot me a DM then, and we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.